Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Phil Risher, and on today's episode, we're talking about how to hire better, retain longer, and scale faster by building the right team with Andrew Henke. Thanks so much for joining us today, Andrew.
Hey, thanks for having us, Phil. Glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure. The thing I'm most excited about talking with Andrew about is this is not another episode about how to hire some technicians and get people to fill your routes. This is really high level how to scale your business, and that's what he is an expert at, which I'm very excited to talk through. Andrew, before we get into it, could you give people a quick bio? 20 seconds, 2 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, my name's Andrew Henke, like Phil said. I'm the senior managing partner here at Bricks Recruiting Partners. And we are essentially, the best way I can put it, we are headhunters. We are not resume recruiters, but we spend our days reaching out to the home service, home improvement industry and having conversations with companies, people in a lot of leadership roles, trying to find out where the direction of the market's going, what people are looking for career-wise, and just getting as much knowledge as we can. So over the past 13 years at Bricks, we have built this nationwide network of industry leaders that when we have a client that reaches out to us for a need, hopefully we can be a resource if it's just intel. Maybe we can be a resource to actually help connect people with some of these leaders that maybe you have an opportunity is what they're looking for. And that's our job, is to be a headhunter matchmaker is the best way I can quickly summarize it for you, Phil. We have a team, we're all based out of Minnesota, right in the Twin Cities. We have about 25 employees that are all US based here that are on the phones every single day. Think of this as like an inside sales team. So we are proactively reaching out to the network. We don't rely on job boards or anything, but we want to be proactive in our network building and actually reaching out to people and tapping them on the shoulder and going from there.
Love it. Okay, great. So this is going to be a great conversation. This is what y'all do, and I want to try to extract as much out to help people. So the usual people that listen to this is like 1 million growing to like $10 million, and they're
Yep.
trying to figure out how to scale. And at this point, they probably bought back their time. They have some technicians, but usually they need maybe like a project manager, an ops person, a GM, a sales manager, like those types of
Yep.
roles. Could you talk through some of the common roles that people are filling in that range of like 1 to 10 million? And maybe it's all the ones that I just said, but like ones that people get stuck on or what you're seeing.
Yeah, I think the roles you mentioned are usually the most common ones,
Okay.
and I think it's it's a little bit dependent on the company, but it's where you're spending most of the time. To your
Mm.
point, Phil, you've already filled the technicians and maybe a couple of salespeople, but now where's your time going? Are you the one that's training the technicians? Well, cool. Maybe we need to look at more of an operation installation manager, or are you the one that's continually following with your salespeople and training on that? What's going to free up the time? And maybe that's, you know, you're making a list of things. What do I love to do? What do I do just because I have to do?
Mm.
And anything in that category, let's try to find someone that can take that over for you to free up for the things you want to do and love to do.
Yeah, I love that. Buying back your time so you can focus on growing the business on things that you is your unique ability. A lot of people they probably just go to Indeed, slap a resume up there, get
Yep.
some resumes, go through that route. A lot of people probably have been burned, and that might not be the most efficient use of their time. Could you talk about like what a good game plan looks like for hiring some of these top level people? You mentioned not just like resume sifters, but also like being proactive. What does that look like?
Yeah, I think the people that you're probably wanting to hire are more than likely, not always, not on Indeed. They're not looking for a position. You're looking for the person that is successful in their role and probably doing very well in it, is maybe at a competitor currently. So we can't rely 100% on Indeed. We need to basically make a story of our company that is known by the public. I think a great opportunity too is going to different industry events, and just networking is a great way to visit some of these and start to have your face up there. But when you're you know uh, I think marketing plays a huge role into this, right? I think a lot of us market toward customers using different social media products and such, but also taking some of that marketing spend and saying, can we do it to tell the story of our culture, the vision, where we're going, recruitment wise? That can be an avenue that I think a lot of people don't take advantage of, because those same people that you're maybe looking to hire are looking at your social media from a competitive standpoint. Hey, what are they doing to gain customers? What if that message was also, what are we doing to grow the brand and the company? And maybe even just publicly say that we're looking for these types of leaders. There's a lot of different avenues we could go down that route, Phil, in a conversation.
Yeah, so it sounds like don't just slap something on Indeed. Obviously, go to your social media, maybe even go to your email newsletter and make people aware that you're hiring for this position because probably these people are going to be at a job that they might not like right now, and they would be interested if they knew that your position is open and they're not actually on Indeed searching for jobs, is what I'm hearing from you.
Right. That, and even on your website, these people in today's world are probably your competitor in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
And they might be looking at your website to see what you're doing for a competitive edge. Building a really robust career page within your website, and not just a career website that says this is what we're hiring for, but it's marketed towards showing the actual culture. It's testimonial videos of your current employees. It's videos from the leadership saying the direction of the company and going, and this helps not only leadership, but it helps those low level roles too, that when they go to Indeed and they visit your website, they kind of hear the story of what your company has.
Yeah.
It's not going to, be a light switch where I'll see if all these applicants come in, but it's starting to lay the groundwork.
Yeah. Marketing is not just about sharing all the problems that you can solve, but also like people want to work with good businesses that have really good team members that are really engaged and excited. So that's other things that you can share that would help attract not only employees, but also good customers. It's a
Yeah.
both double-edged sword.
Yep. Most,
I like
yeah, I think the companies we have seen done that have had nothing but positivity. And you can scale it very small by having a website with maybe just a video from the ownership or the leaders, to the point where I have some clients of mine that have built full YouTube stories
it. Yeah.
of following a day in the life of every single role in that company. That, to your point, it shows the customer like how we treat our customers and all the different things we do, but also from a candidate standpoint, people watching these videos seeing a day in the life of a technician or a sales manager or an HR person, whatever it might be, and they go, well, that looks interesting to me. That's something I could do. That's
Yeah.
something I could bring value to.
Yeah, I love it. So I want to get to the point of like bringing people over from other companies because it can be a little weird. Like, what's my plan of attack? Just like, uh, hey, there's a company that has a position open, and maybe you might be interested in having a conversation. Maybe it's as simple as that. But how do you actually attract people from another company to come to your business if it's like a very direct outreach? That's not weird. Should it come from the owner? Should it come from someone else? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it at some points, I think the owner is the best way. It's like you're singling
Okay.
that person out. I'm directly tapping
Hmm.
you on the shoulder. I mean, LinkedIn is a great professional networking tool, right? I do think opening it up to just a general conversation sometimes is better than directly like, I need to hire a sales manager and I see you.
Yeah.
But from those senior leadership people, sending a message on LinkedIn and just saying, hey, I see you're in this space. I would love to network. And it might not be I'm directly trying to hire you or target that, but I'm just looking to network with other people that are in our community that are within the same industry. Because all that we know a lot of times is we know the company, we might know the title, but I don't know what Phil brings to the table. And I don't want to position right off the bat and go, hey, Phil, I'm looking for our sales manager. Are you interested? When
Yeah.
all I know is your title and your name. I don't even know if you're a fit for our culture. So that's where I think opening the conversation, like, hey, I'm just looking to network with other peers within our industry. If you're open to a conversation, maybe that's a phone call, maybe that's meeting at Starbucks or anything. But I think that's a great way from to open a conversation. And if nothing else, maybe it is just truly networking. Maybe there is some business that can go back and forth through these relationships.
Yeah. I think either way, reaching out to someone and just starting a conversation like what you're saying, going to events and just building a relationship with someone, then if the opportunity presents itself and it makes sense, you already have the groundwork laid and it's not weird. And this would be something that you could be doing ongoing, just touching base and building this
Yep.
bench almost of relationships.
Yeah, I do think when you have these conversations, you do want to think out a little bit, like, what is the point of this conversation? Is it one, to learn about them? Is it two, I'm trying to highlight things about my company? Is it just sharing? So going with a little bit of a game plan of, hey, I have this person that's agreed to speak with me. Now, what am I going to actually bring to the table? Um,
Yes.
because I think a lot of these candidates, right, and this is what we run into every day, if if they don't know the story or the vision or where you're trying to get to, they might see you as disorganized. You're kind of all over the place. Oof, I don't know how professional this company is, especially if you're a smaller company, right?
Yeah.
That if they're going to make a move, these are check boxes they're going to want to know is like, where's the company going? What's the vision? And so even if you don't have a true game plan of the conversation, just know that leadership people, that's what they're going to ask if they're ever going to even consider leaving. They want to know where the path is, career-wise for them, company-wise. It's okay not to have all the answers, but at least be able to have some thoughts around it where you can have a conversation more than just shrugging your shoulders going, we're looking to double our business, and we need more than that. So,
Yeah, have a vision that's casted because I think maybe it's Dan Martell, he says this, but your vision needs to be big enough that your team's goals fit into it.
yep,
And you
yep,
need to be able to say like we're building this thing and then your goals can reach into this. I do want to ask you because this one comes up a lot. I feel like it got stuck. And this was something that we hit in my home service business was like the technicians, it's you set up some comp pay, they get some upsells, your CSR is similar. But then when you get that next tier, the compensation plans to correlate with performance pay, it can get a little sticky. Like, do I give them a percentage of revenue? Do I do this? Do you have any best practices of like how to figure that out and structure it in your business? I know every business is different, but like think about
yeah.
like a 3 to 4 or $5 million business that's wants to get these solid foundational people in and they want to give them some type of slice pie. Like, what does that look like and how do they figure that out or build that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, every business is going to be a little bit different, right, when we come to that conversation. And I think it also depends on who you're bringing in, right? So if I'm
Yeah.
bringing someone in that I see as potentially being the GM in kind of the everyday thing, maybe I'm open to giving some equity so they have some ownership in there and some real drive to grow this thing. Where if I'm hiring a sales manager that I don't see, another level above that for some time, maybe it's more just I want to be competitive in the space when it comes to compensation. Some of it's reaching out to someone like myself that maybe is talking to these candidates every day, and we can give you an idea in your local market. Every market's going to be different. What are
Yeah.
you guys seeing? Because part of our job is to learn where the market is around compensation. Part of it is maybe going to these industry events and networking with some other owners that are maybe in other parts of the country. So it's not, they're more open to maybe sharing that type of stuff. And two, I think just having an open conversation with, individuals that maybe you're having these networking conversations be about, how does the company take care of you? Like what things drive you when it comes to compensation? Maybe it's just override in sales, maybe it's equity, maybe it's straight base. There's just so many options out there, but I think those are some starting places you could probably start with.
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes to what is that person's goals and then also knowing your numbers it plays a lot
Yeah,
into it.
that's huge, and that goes into kind of the vision and stuff too, like
Yes.
having a really good idea, like where the profitability is and such. And some of it might be, reaching out to someone like yourself, Phil, or somewhere else in the consulting world,
Yeah.
someone that has grown these businesses already, and trying to network with those people. And I think it's great to network with peers that are in the same place. But if I can find some companies that have already achieved over where I'm trying to go, and if I can connect to those people and have an open dialogue, I have found in this industry more than anything else, it people they share stuff. Like it's not this like iron
Correct.
wall that like we can't get past that wall. Is I go to a lot of industry events and I'm shocked by how much intel gets shared back and forth. And I don't know if it's the home improvement, home service, just kind of the background that we all have in this industry or not, but um, I think that's a great starting point is to try to find someone, a mentor that's been there, done it. It might be a consultant, it might be someone that's scaled a company, but that's a great place to start too.
Yeah, one of the things that we do, and this might be helpful for someone listening, is let's say like we're gonna grow to $10 million. Then like my business, I'll say, hey, we're gonna grow to $10 million. Okay. So we know that at $10 million, this position that I'm hiring you for should make $250,000. Right now, I'm gonna pay you $120,000. And then that delta of 130,000, every single inch that we get closer to that, you're gonna make more money as we build to your $250,000 as we all build the company together.
Yep.
It helps set the vision and then also allows you to work back to figure out what that delta is, the 130,000 in that example of what do I need to get, how do I get there with them? And it also like buys in the incentives.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Be able to put that carrot out in front of someone, right, and be
Exactly.
able to describe though, because if I am in the industry, I'm working for a competitor, I'm doing well in my role, and
Yes.
you can't explain to me how I get to that next level or can't explain the compensation, that could be a deal breaker right away because in the
Correct.
candidate's eyes, they are taking 100% of the risk. I am leaving a company right now that I'm getting compensated well, and I'm going to Phil's company, and Phil can't tell me how to get there. That's going to put the brakes on these conversations real quick. And so I think, to your point, Phil, thinking that out of what the delta is and how do I get someone to this level is a really important part of the recruiting stage. And that doesn't need to be said in conversation number one, but as you get someone and you feel like, okay, this person is worth investing in and have continue the conversation, I need to be prepared to have that conversation.
Yeah, it's so true, and we see this a lot, like, we work with owners and then, "Oh, I just met this great waitress at this restaurant. She's awesome. She's gonna be my next GM. Like, I'm gonna build her
Yep.
up. I'm gonna build." And it's like, you could do that, but you could also go find a great GM that already works at a home service business, that is a top performer, that knows all the systems and game plans and can come in and plug it into your business, and 9 times out of 10, that person, you're gonna train them up, and it's not even gonna get there, and
Yep.
it's like, it's a complete mind shift, but it also is going to speed up your stuff and get you where you want to go without you trying to fix this stuff. So I think going the route of finding someone that's good, that's already out there, is a way better play, in my opinion. It sounds like that's what y'all would default
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. That and just understanding your market too. And you know, there's positive and negatives around it, right? But when
Yeah.
PE kind of enters the place, that can
Yeah.
ruffle some feathers. And having
Mm.
the market knowledge of knowing that my competitor just got bought out by PE, I might want to proactively try to reach out to some of their leaders to see how they feel about this.
Mm.
There can be some great stories about PE, and there can be some stories that aren't so great either. That people get unsure when PE
Yeah.
enters the space, and that is sometimes a good time to start these conversations.
Mm.
Um,
It's good.
People are kind of considering, I don't know where the future is for me. And here's Phil, who's got a company that's growing, it's privately owned. Maybe that's a conversation that I take that I wouldn't have taken 6 months ago.
Yeah, so good. So if there's private equity moving in, there's could be opportunity for people with ruffled feathers to get some of their teammates that are, I don't know if I'm going to be here that much longer. What's it like? And they could at least open the conversation of it. I love it.
Yep.
I want to ask you about something that's shifting that we're seeing in home service is the remote work environment, specifically like with sales leaders, office managers, even GMs to some extent. Have you seen this? Like someone on the East Coast is hiring people on the West Coast and they're virtual management?
Um, I, I would say with the types of revenue bands that we're talking about, that 1 to 10, even like $1 to $30 million companies, I haven't seen a lot of it
Okay.
yet from the client side. Now, from the candidate side, there's a lot of candidates that want
Yes.
to be in that space for one reason or another. And so I think the one thing that we need to recognize is if we are wanting to hire people from within the industry, and I'm in uh, Fargo, North Dakota,
Yeah.
there's only so many other competitors that I have. So if I need to
Exactly.
hire a GM and I go, well, there's only 2 or 3 people I would consider someone that could come over and get me that next level, and I don't have a way to attract those 2 or 3 people, well, then what do I do? I either home
Exactly.
grow someone and I invest big time in onboarding, training, just I'm going to wear that cross for the next couple of years as I kind of mentor someone, or am I open to either a fractional leader? I think we've seen an uptake of that
Yep.
where companies are hiring fractional leaders. You could call them consultants. They have a lot of different terms that is kind of the in between. It's I don't want to use the word band-aid, but it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
helping us it's helping us cross the bridge that we can bring that fractional leader in that can help us with issues today as we're mentoring maybe a young leader into
Yep.
that role and having that fractional leader help share that. That I think we've seen an uptick of.
Yep.
Um, on some of the finance and operations roles, I think for the larger scale companies, the monsters, they've gone a lot into more the remote and more open to that.
Mm. Very.
Part of it, I think, is just a mindset that if they're not in the office, how could they be part of our culture? And
I
those
know.
are things of, I think, sitting back, we've had it ourselves. We were 100% within an office. I live about 10 minutes away from our office. And over the past couple of years, we've gone more hybrid remote. It's allowed us to bring in some talent that we would never have gotten before,
Yeah.
which is awesome. But we had to work on, well, how do we maintain culture? How do we maintain relationships? What new tools do we need to bring in? It can be done. Obviously, there's a lot of companies thriving in that space. I just think that a lot of times when we have smaller companies, myself was included, it's a lot of times this is a mindset.
Yeah.
Well, if they're not here, how would they feel part of the team? A sales manager that needs to be in the field, yeah, that's probably something we got to find local. But if it's an operations manager, or a call center manager, maybe a lot of those types of roles, there's paths to going remote or hybrid, that I think allow you just access to more talent. Because again,
Yeah.
you're in Fargo, there's only so much talent to go around. If you're in Dallas, maybe not the case. There's a lot,
Mhm.
population's a lot bigger. So I think it depends on where you're at. But it definitely, either way, it opens up your pipeline when you go remote.
Yeah, for sure. It was a big shift for me. I had 28 technicians. I was there at 6:30 in the morning, shaking hands, goofing off, all the stuff. And then I shifted to all remote, like my company. And it's like, how do I build culture? What do I do? How do I communicate with these people? And I
Yep.
think as like even CSRs or other roles in home service that are maybe moving out of office, that's going to be a big focus for a lot of people, I would say. I do want to ask you about retaining team members. So obviously you're on the one side of it, which is like, let me get you stuff.
Yeah.
But how do you like retain your top talent and make sure that they don't get poached or leave you?
Yeah. So I think that's a great topic to talk about. Um, I hate to say the word culture because I think everyone says we have a great culture, and what does that mean? And there's different variations
Yeah.
of it. But I think it really comes down to like just learning what your team is today and having real, one-on-one, like heart-to-heart conversations about like what are you looking for here? And then when they say, I want to continue to grow, if we're not investing in training or sending them to maybe, third party training events or bringing in outside perspective, just know that they've told us getting better is important to them. And if we're not doing that, when another opportunity arises that they are showcasing how, hey, we've promoted 6 guys over the past 2 years and we invest in this, that person's going to take that phone call. They're going to apply to
Yeah.
that Indeed ad. So as simple as it sounds, I think it's just really sitting down with your staff and understanding truly, like on a one-on-one setting, what is important to you. And at sometimes they might say, I don't know. And we got
Yeah.
to be able to walk them through that conversation, I think. There's, different assessments that I would say, they're good. Take them with a grain of salt. But it's surprising that, where I would think someone would be motivated, my staff, I had them take an assessment, and I'm like, oh, this person is money motivated. The assessment showed it was that was complete opposite, and it allowed us to have a conversation about it. And me be like, hey, I thought I was motivating you by putting money in front of you, but I found out that's not what's important to you.
Mm,
You're more of a people person and you want to be in a position where you want to train and mentor people. That's what's important. I need to give you that opportunity to do that to thrive here.
yeah.
So that's where my best advice I think would be, but investing in, you know, just making sure your employees feel appreciated. So some of these assessments will tell you that Phil needs a pat on the back every single day. Like that's what he needs. And his counterpart is basically like, leave me alone. I don't want to be on the spotlight. I don't need recognition. Just let me do my thing. And recognizing that everyone in your organization is a little bit different and their motivators are going to be different. But at the end of the day, having those conversations on a regular basis, if nothing else, they feel closer to you and they
Mhm.
feel that you care about them. And now I have a personal tie that I've called candidates before and had a great opportunity. They said, Andrew, it sounds like a great opportunity, but my owner has taken care of me. They have invested in me. I'm so close to them. It would feel like I'm getting a divorce if I was ever to leave this
Yeah.
person. I'm ride or die with them. But
Yeah.
that starts because that owner takes the time to invest in every one of their employees, or their, the whoever oversees your technicians. That person's having the same conversation with the
Mhm.
techs on a one-on-one basis. That's where I think you can start to really, create what a true culture is, like everyone kind of cares about each other type thing. And it
Yes.
doesn't mean we need to go around hugging, but that just
Yeah. Yeah.
means,
Yeah.
hey, I know my own owner, he doesn't have to have these conversations. He's taking time out of his time to sit down with me, invest with me. And when I tell him, yeah, I want more training, it doesn't mean that you, the owner, has to think of it. Go, well, awesome. Why don't you go out and, if there's certain courses you want to take or certain things you want to attend, bring them to me and we can have a conversation if we can do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's, a part where they can have a say in it too, but you're building that relationship. And that's, I think, the number one thing, especially at a leadership level, that keeps people intact, is that feeling of like the company cares about me, they're investing in me. If I was to leave them, man, I would just feel awful after everything they've done for me.
Yeah. From what I'm hearing from you, it's like You got to have one-to-one conversations, whether that's weekly, monthly, or quarterly at least, where you're,
Yep.
talking about their goals, just getting to know them on a personal level, what's going on, investing in them, then having some opportunity for ongoing training so that way they feel like they're sharpening their skills or not just a bump on a log, just catching a check. And
Yep.
then also having some type of like events or something where like it's deeper than just work. I don't just work here. It's like we're
Yeah.
all getting together and it's community
Yeah. If
time.
if we have an employee party, you go past that. Let's bring the kids. Let's bring your spouse. Let's bring everyone in. Let's have a community type thing like you're saying. And
Exactly.
during those one-on-one calls, I think a lot of companies have those on a regular basis. But when I talk to people, they go, "Yep, my one-on-one. It's strictly about numbers in the business. There's no personal connection. It's did we hit our appointments? Did we get our close rate? Whatever." And they're on to the next. Instead of maybe just starting the conversation, we don't need to spend 2 hours, but just starting
Yeah.
off like, "Hey, what's going well today, Phil? Like, what are some of the wins you had since we last talked?
Yeah.
Talk about your metrics, and then end it. Great. What's the one thing I can do for you that's going to help you out the most?" And then that, I think, starts some of those conversations that start to build that connection.
Yeah. I love it. I do want to ask you about how someone should think about paying for a headhunter or something for a new person on the team. Because I think I don't know this, but I think there's like two different ways to do it. Like you could hire a recruiter and pay them like monthly to like find someone for you or something like that. And then you could
Yeah.
say, hey, this person has like a bounty that I want to get this thing, and then I'll give you this fulfillment fee. Are there any best practices on like how to balance that and make it make sense for your business and work for you and think through that process?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple different ways, right? For the higher leadership people, where you're like, I need someone to go out and handpick, tap people on the shoulder for this. You're looking at that bounty type
Yeah.
approach to it. The one thing I would say when you see those fees is just think about, if I didn't have this person, and if it's a sales leader and they're going to bring in $5 million of revenue, paying a headhunter a fee, like just putting that all into consideration, I think,
Yeah.
is I'm paying this guy $20,000 to go find a leader. However, if that leader helps me generate an extra $3 million of revenue next year, man, that sounds like a great deal to most. There's a lot of different ways to structure those plans. There's a lot of different recruiters and headhunters that do it.
Yeah.
And part of it also goes into there's services like you're talking about, like a monthly fee, where it's just kind of a resume service. And they're managing your job boards for you. It's taking something off of your hands. That I'm hiring a service that will post all my ads on Indeed. They will, um, you know, screen candidates. They'll do that for me. Those you're looking for a monthly type, almost like a subscription fee, like those exist.
Yep.
They're great if you're hiring probably more on the technician side, entry level. Like, hey, I always need to be bringing more and more people in. That's a great route. I would also argue bringing in an internal recruiter into your staff is a great move, and have one person that can own this thing.
Mm.
It can help sometimes on cost. Now, those internal people, they're not always as proactive. So, are they going to go find your next director of sales? Maybe, probably not. But are
Yeah,
they going to be a great person saying, hey, over the next year, we need to hire 10 more technicians. We need some salespeople. We need warehouse, office drivers, whatever.
for sure.
I can have one person. And then when you have that one person, which I'm always happy to have the conversation about, is setting up some KPIs around them and managing it just like you would any other position in your company, of having some KPIs, of knowing it, but bringing someone that can own this type of stuff. So when you and I go to job fairs, you're not taking someone out of the field to go work a job fair. You're not
Mm.
taking someone out of the field to have all these first round interviews and screening and such. It can be a great investment to bring someone internal into your team and say, you are our internal recruiter, our talent acquisition manager, whatever you want to call it, but can be a good asset. But I think always having the open door of just talking to outside services too. Most of it is outsourced marketing. Most of it is outsourced. A lot of other things. Recruiting is no different, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like the call out with the internal person because you could probably hire someone for like 70, 80, $90,000, but then like they're gonna run point on all and even some of your other annoying HR stuff that you have to do probably too. And
Yeah,
they
they
could
can help with onboarding, with all the,
yeah.
got some news starting today. Who's going to do the I-9 paperwork and collect all this? And that internal recruiter can be that.
Exactly.
And it's a it's a position too where they feel incredibly important to the company.
Of course.
And I think you see your other leaders too, as while we're investing in someone. I know Phil said we're going to grow this year. Now they're bringing an internal recruiter in that's going to be part of our staff.
Yeah.
That shows the company like we're investing, like we're serious about growing this thing. We're bringing in an internal recruiter. We're building out a recruiting department. That can be another thing that can help with that retaining people of
Yes.
going, oh, when they say they're growing, they're serious. They just hired a recruiter. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The recruitment fee, when people scoff at that, I always say like, okay, well, if your time's worth $500 an hour,
yep,
okay, that's 1,000 to that's like, are you gonna spend 20 hours on this or 40 hours on this trying to find this
yep,
person? You're gonna spend way more time than that. Like, your time is worth way more than that.
yeah. And I would tell you, like, if you're not doing it, your competitor is or might be.
Yeah,
And so if there's talent out there, you know, do I want to say, well, I'll do it myself and I'll just hope someone applies in Indeed, or do I want to be proactive and get a step ahead of my competition?
exactly.
So,
Exactly. I love it. Cool, man. Well, this has been great conversation. I appreciate you sharing all this insight. Where should people go to learn more about your company and you? Where should they go from
yeah,
here?
so I would say two best resources, just Bricks Recruiting, and it's BRIX recruiting.com. That'll bring you to our website. You can learn everything about our company and our different fields there. Otherwise, a great place to find me is just on LinkedIn. So Andrew Henke, Henke. I'm on there all the time, so I'm easy to get a hold of. But if you connect with me, part of it is you'll see some of my network stuff too, and that might even jumpstart some of the networking. I'm more than happy to introduce you to anybody. So if you're a company and you're looking to just get networked with someone, I am as transparent as possible. If you point out a name, say, can you connect us? I'm more than happy to have an intro and get you introduced to anybody or talk about anything that we talked about here today. Happy to do that, even if it's just a conversation. I don't charge consulting fees if you just want to talk shop about recruiting. I love that stuff. Feel free to send me a message and we can set up a time to chat.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate you, man.
All right. Thanks, Phil.
See ya.